Corrective behavior is one of the social phenomena that have attracted the sociologists to try to understand and describe it. One of them is Robert E. Park, an American sociologist. Another sociologist who has also worked on corrective behavior is also an American sociologist who is called Lewis M. Kiran and Jerry Smither, who have spent a lot of their time to try to understand social corrective behaviors. And each of them has got his own way of defining corrective behavior. According to Robert Park, corrective behavior refers to the behavior of individual under the influence of common or corrective attitude or impulse in a social interaction. That there must be an interaction of individuals. So when they are subjected to an impulse which affects a size of them, then the way they react and behave is normally very strange, very abnormal, compared to the general observation of the inter-society where they come from. While Lewis Kiran think corrective behavior is a spontaneous formulation of norms and organization which contradict the general norms and organization of the society. So it's a spontaneous reactions, and when you compare and observe that reactions, it's different from the general organization and the norms of the general society where the individual who have reacted comes from. Neil Smith, actually, who developed also one of the theories which describe corrective behavior, think that corrective behavior is a social process and event which do not reflect existing social structure, but emerging spontaneously. Now, based on those definitions, then we can try to say, okay, what is a corrective behavior? We have seen that every definitions that is provided by the three thinkers, there must be individual, there must be a correction of them, okay, and there must be interaction. So we can say that corrective behavior refers to a range of behavior that occur when a large number of people act in response to a stimulus situation in a relatively unpredictable and unstructured manner. Okay? So in most cases we can see it must be an abrupt change from the normal situation, and that changes is manifested in part of the society, which is represented by a larger size of individuals in that particular society. And in most cases, the response to stimulus or a situation which is spontaneous can be harmless, or sometimes they can be violent, or they can be both harmless and violent in the same time. Now, having seen the definition of corrective behavior, then let us see the types of corrective behavior. Corrective behavior manifests itself in various forms. The first form is a crowd. A crowd which is defined as a large number of people who come together either by chance or planned to achieve a certain goal. That a crowd is not like a group, okay? But it's a large number of people who come together either by chance or planned to achieve a common goal. But a crowd is not like a group. It's true, they are all made up of individuals who come together for a reason, but what differentiates them from the group, a social group, is that a crowd exists for a very short time and for one particular reason. And a crowd can be characterized into or classified into three forms. The first form of a crowd is a casual crowd. What is a casual crowd? A casual crowd is a large number of people who gather by chance. So it's an activity or a reason or an event which bring them there. It's casual because it is no pride, and nobody has an idea that is going to be in that correction or in that group or in that coming together. A good example of them is a good example of a casual crowd. Let's say consider of people who are commuting. So they find what to bring them together is to commute, to move from one place to another. But if they want to move from one place to another, then they have to go to, let's say, use a train or any urban commuting means, let's say a train or daradas, for example, in Tanzania. Or if they want to travel up country, we've got up country buses and up country trains. We've got boats which move people from one place to another on seaside and in water bodies. So those people who meet there, we get a collection of of people. We've got hawkers, we've got people who want to travel. There are people who are just there, they are not traveling, they are not hawkers. So the collection of them is what we call a casual, it's a crowd. But what type of a crowd? It is a casual crowd. Another type of a crowd is a conventional crowd. So the conventional is a gathering of people for a specific event which is organized. But in the organization, they just invite people, okay? Let's come, we've got a convention. So a convention could be an academic convention, a religious convention, a political rally, a campaign rally, where people just go, assemble, gather for a short time. After that, when the event is gone, then the group will dissolve, and it dissolves into ordinary ways of life and behaving. A third type of crowd is a protest crowd. This is a collection of individuals who gather together to express their view or the grievances or raise their voices for a concern which affects them. So it's a scoop, they've got a reason, they've got something which they wanted to air, normally to the authority, that we are not happy with this. So after expressing their crowds, their voices and the view and the grievances, then that correction or gathering of people dissolves. They dissolve into normal ways of life. Another very interesting type of corrective behavior, form of corrective behavior, is called crazy. Crazy is C-R-A-Z-E. It's crazy. That sounds very interesting. The crazy is like people out of their mind. Well, that is not the case. That is out of their mind because that is what we call corrective behavior. And as we have said, corrective behavior is some form of behavior that is not normal. That is not the general behavior of the general society. So that's why people, they call it crazy. And although now many sociologists does not agree with the use of the word irrational, but crazy is an irrational rush towards something based on a generalized belief that positive results are certain. That when there is a general belief that if you join, if you do, if you go, if you behave in a certain way, then when people are aware of that, then they rush towards it. And the rush towards it is what we call craze. So craze is a rational rush towards something based on a generalized belief that people are made to believe. And they respond to that general belief. And they act towards that general belief. That a certain, if I do a certain thing, if I be a member with a group, because of that generalized belief, then I'm going to achieve what is is peddled as something which is likely more than not to happen. And normally if we see in our society, we can easily, in any society, we can easily see crazes, a good number of crazes. And that's what we call generalized belief. Could be something like a boom in the economic sphere. Let's say in Tanzania, we have got gold rush. So people say, okay, in a certain area, one person has hit fortune. He mined in a very simple way, and they got 5 kilos of gold or 5 kilos of diamonds. So people will rush towards that area. That is craziness. So they go there because of the general belief that if they go to that area and they engage in the mining activities, they are likely to get gold, and that they don't have to prove. The people just rush. So an economical boom could result into craze. Another form of craze is the bandwagon, especially in the political sphere. And Tanzania presents a very good example. In 2015, during the general election, a number of people who were involved, who participated in preliminary to be nominated for political positions, political electable positions, but who were not fortunate enough to get nominated, were appointed into various political and administrative offices. So in the preceding election in 2020, okay, after 5 years, a good number of people turned out to participate in the preliminary elections, hoping that they are going to get what those who participated in the 2015 general election preliminaries, who were appointed into political offices. So those people who turned out in 2020 were hoping for the same result. It happened, and it did not happen to them like what happened to those who participated in the 2015 general election. Another form of crazy corrective behavior is fashions and the fads. This is very, very interesting. Fashion. Fashion, which is expression of appearance. Appearance expressions. And this is very interesting, is when a corrective preference or appearance embraced by a large size of people. So there's a fashion people prefer to be, or to go with that fashion, or to go with that trend, or people prefer to appear in that trend as well. So fashion is not related or limited to clothes. No. It goes beyond than that. If you let's go and see what is happening in Tanzania. A fashion, the general characteristics of a fashion is one is driven by wealth, rich people. The rich people are fashion traders, so they set the standard. If they do a certain things, then the whole society try to appear and they prefer to be, and they present themselves like they are also rich. And this is according to George Zimmer. So people will copy and attempt to be or own or wear clothes or own vehicle or eat like the rich people. And the more they do it, the bigger the crowd it become, and they create craziness, irrational. Sometimes they do. It's irrational because you just sometimes do for the sake of doing it, while compromising other issues. So it could be you wear like a rich person, you build a house like a rich person, you eat like a rich person, you go drive a car like a rich person, you visit places like a rich person, and you do whatever the rich person do, who is actually setting up the standard and the trend. Another force of fashion is another characteristic of fashion is that it is a result of commercial activities. And when we say commercial, we are referring to the market drive, the advertisement, where people commercial ads and what, they will make people irrational. They will make people to react. Do you remember in our definition of a correctable behavior, the commercial advertisement, which of course advertise events, advertise. They say don't miss, okay? You should go there. You should be part of it. So that's drive people's mind. They make them crazy, and they go and participate in that. So whenever they wanted to change the status, the fashion, so they start with the commercial. You haven't seen it. What you have is it's big, but what is in the market now? This is bigger than that. So it drives crazy. The crowd crazy, and the people go to that. They embrace that fashion. And another characteristic of fashion is that it is an expression of ability to afford. So people are driven crazy by the attitude of I can have it, or I can buy it, I can go, I have the ability to do it. So they just go, and embrace that fashion. Another characteristic of fashion is that it is reinforced by status. So if you value, you put yourself in a certain status, then whenever there is anything new in the market, wherever there is something which is trending, then you want to be part of that. So those drive drive fashion. And it's not only, as I have said, the fashion is not limited to clothes. It's limited to the way people attend or respond to commercial and intent to taste, or intent to be part, or intent to be identified as to be up to date. So what they say, to be up to date. So you change cars every 5 years because, of course, there is a new type of car in the market. And who goes in for that one? Of course, they are rich people. So whether you are rich or you are not rich, the rich people are just trade setters, but they are attracting other people. So we have said that crazes, we have got fashion and the fad. Fad are similar to fashion, but they exist for a very, very short time. They're also moved by commercial issues, and then people define as fad a harmless correction behavior that often covers a larger distance, okay, but exists for a very short time as compared to fashion. Let's say, take a very good example of a fad. Those people wear red on Valentine's Day. So they just do it. It's one day event. So what? So put on your red cloth, outfit, red suit, red tie, red gown, red whatever. But that's only for that particular day. Once it is done, and it could happen everywhere. So once it is done, then it is done. Until next time, or until when something like of that nature happening in the society. So we have seen crowds, and we have seen craze as a form of corrective behavior. Another very interesting form of corrective behavior is rumors. I remember in Tanzania, the first president of the United Republic of Tanzania, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, he just branded Dar es Salaam, by then the capital and the commercial seat of Tanzania. That Dar es Salaam is a rumor vire. That people can say anything in Dar es Salaam, and the people will believe like that is true. So what is rumors? Rumors is referred to unverified story that lack evidence, that spread from one person to another person. So in those old days, it was from one person to one person. But nowadays, with the emergence of social networks and the other means of communication, rumors spread very easily, and the people act on them. So when if it reaches a good number of people, and the people act on them, then it creates a corrective behavior. So rumors is one form of corrective behavior because it makes people act on it. they form attitude, they form views about it without verifying, without making sure that what they are made to believe is true or not true. But it is enough to act as a stimuli that could make people react upon it. And what is the result? Is a corrective behavior arising from rumors. And the rumors thrive in the absence of information, in the vacuum. So normally rumors feelings the vacuum. It's like it's acting in the mind of people. It's reading the mind of people. People said, okay, people could be expecting some information, but when those information are not there, and the society can live in an information vacuum, so those information which fills the information vacuum, that's what we call rumors. And the people react on it, sometimes a large size of people. And that qualifies rumors to be a corrective form of corrective behavior. Another form of corrective behavior of the same nature is hysteria. People become hysterical. It's widespread fear that turn out not to be true or which is exaggerated. Okay? It's like, let's say when there is a pandemic. So everybody comes with a reason. Oh, you know, in the people, let's say 20 people died in Dar es Salaam, 100 people are dying, like what? So that makes people puts the fear into people. So when with fear, that fear act as a stimuli, which spontaneously changes the behavior of people who are behaving normally in the absence of it. So once they respond to that hysteria stimuli, then they create a corrective behavior and they present us with a form of corrective behavior. We have another form of corrective behavior in the form of riot. Riot is a spontaneous outburst of violence, of destruction by a large number of people. So all of a sudden, people react strangely. They start to become violent, and that is a large number of people. Sometimes you could ask one of them why, what is happening. I'll say, I don't know, but he's just acting in a violating manner. So violent could be political. Riot could also be an expression of discontent, which is not affiliated by political issues. It could be out of control celebrations. Say, fans or supporters of a certain club. So their club has won a very important trophy in a very important sport event or tournament. Then the cause of celebrations, people react sometimes very strangely, and they turn into violent in nature. Another reason is it could be people, maybe sports fans are not happy with the result of their team they support, so they behave in a destructive and a violent manner. So such behavior, such correctable behavior present us with another form of correctable behavior in the forms of riot. And sometimes riot could be issueless. You could struggle to find why people are reacting in such manner. They can't give you a reason. And they show, it's a time when people see an opportunity, okay? Let's say there's an outbreak of, in Tanzania we've got sometimes people are just sitting there, going about their activities. Then there is an accident of oil tanker, a petroleum tanker. It get involved in an accident. There's nobody there to take care of it, and the people act strangely. They just go about, get baskets, get every container. They go and they collect diesel and water, and sometimes they ended up in accidents, fire accidents, which killed a lot of people. It happened in Morogoro in Tanzania. It happened everywhere, and sometime in Tanzania. It's common. It happens in Kenya. It happens in those areas. So it happened because people see it like an opportunity, a golden chance. Oh, here we have got what? We've got a tanker which is leaking with oil, leaking out of it. And this oil is sold. So people will lash, even those who doesn't have a car, who in no way needs petrol or needs diesel, but they will lash. So the sociologists are interested in how these people behave. They are not interested whether they have got any use of that petrol or diesel from a tanker which has been involved into an accident, has got any use to them. But they are interested in the way these crowds, these people who are just sitting there doing nothing, or going about their business, how they react to do that. So there are situations like that one when people take advantage of it. Like say there is an outbreak of fire in the neighborhood. So while others work on extinguishing the fire, others start looting the other shops. So those are things where they happens. So another form of correctable behavior is disaster. So disaster are natural, others are not natural. Others are man-made. So disaster create extreme difficult condition where people become uncontrollable, and that uncontrollableness gives an impasse. It gives a stimuli which make them behave strangely, sometimes in support of the people who are involved in the disaster, or the victim of the disaster, or the eyewitnesses. So people react, respond in a manner which is abnormal from the normal behavior. So then we have another factor, another form of correctable behavior is urban legends. These urban legends are stories, folklore, which is common in the society. Every society has got this. Normally, The urban legend, a realistic but untrue story that recounts the past or an event in a society. Normally it is told, but there is no way a person or people who are involved told that story could verify that story. It's they get an impression of a friend of a friend, or a friend of my friend said, okay? So there is no way, you don't know, you know the person who is telling you that story, okay? But there is no way you are going to know the friend of the friend of the friend who is telling you that story. So you cannot verify it. But nevertheless, urban legends are very good at giving reason, normal a moral reason. And those stories could be told by so many people. And they be told to so many people by so many people. So it could be a common, so you could hear it here and you could hear it there. But normally what we're getting out of those stories, the legend stories, the urban legends, is a lesson or a warning. Normally a moral one. So it's told to, let's say in town they say don't pass through that street at night. If you drive on that street at night, then you could see people, especially that big tree, the bulb tree. In Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, they've got the bulb tree, where it is breathed, which is meat there. Okay. So what does it help? It sometimes warns people not to pass through that place at a particular time, either in the middle of the afternoon or midnight. So what they do, they give people warning, so you don't go there. Or they just give you a lesson that you should act in this particular manner. So we have seen the forms of corrective behavior, which comes in the form of, the first one is crowd, then we have got crazes. So in crazes we have got fashions and the fads. Then we have got rumors, riot, disaster, and urban legends. The common among them is that they act as a stimulus which can make people respond and behave, spontaneously respond and behave in abnormal in relation to the ordinary life and the behavior of the general society. Now, sociologists have got their tools of analyzing social phenomena. And those tools, they are based on theories. Theories which is a body of knowledge developed scientifically, which understand and describe a social behavior. And among all those social phenomena is corrective behavior. So, what theories do we have? which can help the sociologist to understand the behavior in the society. Not only understand, but good enough to classify them as corrective behavior. So the first theory, there are about four theories. The first theory is emergent norm theory. According to this theory, it is stated that in any given situation, people perceive and respond with a new set of norms, which may change over time as they express themselves. And according to this theory, when the people don't go into corrective action, okay, behave with behavior or norms in mind, okay. But once they are involved in that, so they create new norms. And those norms which are created are not similar to the ordinary norms outside of that situation. That's why it is called an emergent norm theory. So you go and participate in a crowd, but the way you behave in that crowd, you get it there during the participation in the crowd. You don't come out of it. So that is how the emergent norm theory states that in a given situation, people develop new norms. And because they are temporary, once that activity ends, then it ends. Let's say when people go to watch a football match, they are not planning what they are going to do, but because they don't know when the goal is going to be scored. They don't know where it is going to happen, how the referee, the official of the football match are going to behave. But there will be something which will happen in that situation at that particular short time, which will change the behavior or give the stimuli to people, and they started to behave in a certain way. And by behaving, they create new norms, which is quite contrary, quite different from the norms outside of the event of watching football match. The second theory is called a value-added theory. This was developed from the economic idea of economic situations. Now, so there is something which is added. That's why they called it the value-added theory. So it says, in a certain condition, that certain conditions are necessary for corrective behavior to emerge. And there are six conditions. One of the conditions is structure conduciveness. And I said people must become aware of the significant problem and a person or organization to fault. Let's say in a football match, if a fan of a certain team, they are not happy with the officiating, Then they blame the referees or the official for undesired result which they got. So they can, they show the grievances, so they can form some sort of a correctable behavior. To show their grievances, they can start shouting, they can start throwing stones, throwing bottles of water, throwing bottles of juices, to show their grievances. So that is the conducive, the structure, the condition, situation which has been created, but they must find a person to blame or to fault. We are doing that because of the official. Another condition which could add to issues is the structural strain. So I've got the structural conduciveness, and here the second one is the structural strain. If nobody takes action against the person who is blamed, or against the situation or the cause of the grievances or the suffering of people, then that lack of action or effort to address the problem could lead to any sort of correctable behavior. Particularly in the riot, when people, let's say they are complaining of high cost of living, and they blame that to political officials, the government, and they found the reason, like say, okay, the government is extravagant, or it's corruption, there is fraud everywhere. So if they blame on that and there is no action which is taken against that problem, then the structural strain comes in, and it adds to the problem and makes people riot. Then the third condition that must happen in order for people to take a corrective behavior action is the spreading of generalized belief. So people who want to riot, when they say, okay, the cost of living is high because the government have decided to do so and so and so and so and so and so. Or they are buying expensive car, they are running expensive car, they are traveling here and there. So people start, okay. So they spread that generalized belief. They make people believe. So they spread that generalized belief to act as a stimulus to the society. The purpose is to make the society respond, and the response is in a irrational manner, and they do whatever they do. And if you see it from the first theory, the emergence norm theory, then they create their abnormal norms, abnormal norms, and reacting strangely, irrational. So they create a problem. So another factor which is play a part in the added value theory is precipitation of factors. That you precipitate, you make it dense. What you make it dense? The generalized belief. So you restate. If there are conditions, people start restating. Governments come out. We are poor. We are suffering because of that and that and that. So that's create a condition which could account for correctable behavior. The fifth one is a variable or imaging of leadership. So yes, you could have conducive condition. You could have someone to blame, okay? you can find a fault and try to share, to spread it over people, intoxicate the population. You can redo it and redo it, repeat and repeat and repeat. But something must be available also. That there must be a reader to show the way. Okay? So there are variable images of leadership. To do what? To organize or give the sense of direction to the people who are going to behave in. But remember, corrective behavior are irrational. So the idea could be irrational because there's no time to verify, there's no time to know it's true or it's not true. But it just it has to be enough to make people respond, to give them a stimulus. Another condition is that it must be a there must be, number 6, it must be a social control. So, if the people who are voted, let's say in a government, okay, political leaders, or let's say used to be riots in schools when a student were not happy with the way some affairs were run in the school or colleges. So once there is a leader, there's a condition and a person to vote, then the people would form a corrective action. Correctable behavior. But that could not happen if there is high level of social control. And the high level of social control is going to be against support or diffuse. Let's say if there are laws, like say we say, okay, if a person will have grievances, like when we say in Tanzania, is free to demonstrate, provided it's not a violent demonstration. So the law just gives, oh, you want to demonstrate, fine, do it. But you have to do it in a very organized manner. So that's spike of the corrective behavior. So it could also be, let's say, law, political leaders, and others. So if there are social control, high level of instrumental control, which means law, political leaders, or other leaders. So let's say in what happened in Kenya, there was a demonstration, but the ruling, those in power said, okay, just do whatever you want to do, and they will meet us on the road. The opposition said, okay, we are going to do it. So they did it, and it was violent because it was a clash of people. The social control was very weak. But we saw there was an intervention of religious leaders who said, please sit down, this is not normal. So you have to come to your senses, sit down and talk. And that is what happened. So here this condition number 6 for value-added theories applied. In Tanzania, it is the same. The political leaders said, okay, there is a problem. The opposition said there is a problem, high cost of living, we don't know if the government said, fine. We know what is happening. We are doing what we can do. We cannot help it. But if you wanted to demonstrate, fine. Go and do a demonstration. So they did. And it happened. So, because they applied the laws are there to enable people, because corrective behavior, sometimes they want you to give the room to, it's a way of people to express their grievances, express their feelings. So if you don't give them that right, then you create a problem for yourself. So if there are social control, or the social control is higher, then there won't be an added value. So there will be no corrective behavior. So if there is not, then there is an added value, and we are going to see a corrective behavior. So sometimes it could turn violent or destructive, because we have a form of corrective behavior which is destructive and violent, and that is called riot and protest. Another theory that explains corrective behavior is contagion theory. And it stated the influence of crowd impulse make people to act emotionally and irrational in a corrective behavior. And that was developed by Gustave Le Bon, a French sociologist and psychologist. That corrective behavior results from contagious influence of the crowd in which individuals find themselves. So that explains that people go into corrective behavior. They participate, they gather in the crowd. Okay? So they have got no idea in their mind what they are going to behave and how they are going to behave. They are going to behave in and whatever manner they are going to behave. It's not premeditated. It is created in that crowd. The last theory which explains corrective behavior is convergence theory. And according to convergence theory, it says corrective behavior reflects the pre-existing value or belief and the behavior disposition of individuals who join the crowd. So this draw from the English idiom that bird of a feather flocks together. So people who come into that crowds, who come together, who gathers together, must be of the same attitude, same characteristic, same norm, same belief. So the way they are going to act in the group is known even before they come to form all together and then make a corrective behavior. So it's a 1 plus 1 plus 1, but it's 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, because these people all, they've got feather, so they flock together. Crowd does not affect the individual, but rather the opposite is the case. Individuals of similar type, interest, personality, character, or other attribute tend to associate. That is simple. So, according to this theory, convergence theory, corrective behavior is the result of people with similar characteristics, similar interests, coming together and act upon the interests. So you could find people of your own. You don't invite each other, But sometimes you find yourself in a man and act in the same way. Because although it's spontaneous, let's say an example of the people who rush to go and correct oil from a leaking tanker which has been involved in an accident. Not everybody goes into that one. So you could see, I warned you not to go. Look what happened to you. The other one has said, I warned him not to go, but he could not heed me. He died because of that. And so not everybody participates, but who participates, it gives an opportunity for people who have the similar characteristic, attribute, attitude, and interest together, and form a corrective behavior. If we have to recap it, our presentation was on corrective behavior. We said corrective behavior. We tried to see define what is a corrective behavior. We mentioned reading sociologists who have worked on a corrective behavior. We have seen the forms of corrective behavior and the theories which describe and explain and make us understand what is a corrective behavior. Thank you for listening, and please don't forget to share, subscribe, and comment on our comment section. Thank you very much.